In a bid to prevent further spread of COVID-19, India suspends all existing visas, barring in some categories, from 13 March till 15th April 2020. After second meeting of the group of ministers in a single day, the Ministry of Home Affairs invokes National Disaster Management Act. World Health Organization declares COVID-19 as pandemic, says it is deeply concerned by alarming levels of COVID-19 spread and its severity. Countries world over tighten measures to curb further spread of the virus. Washington, D.C. declares emergency over the spread. U.S. President Donald Trump suspends all travel from Europe except United Kingdom to United States for a month. Number of positive COVID-19 cases in India reaches to 60 as global death toll due to the deadly virus crosses 4,000. Over 1,15,000 people infected. Situation under control in China, but Italy and Iran are worst affected. Delhi Police Special Cell arrests President and Secretary of Popular Front of India in connection with alleged funding behind Shaheen Bagh protests. Parvez and Ilyas arrested by Delhi Police. Markets world over continue to go down on fears of COVID-19 spread. Sensex tanks by around 1,800 points in opening trade, while Nifty fails by over 500 points to trade below 10,000 point level. In international news, former Hollywood movie producer Harvey Weinstein sentenced to 23 years in prison following sexual assault and rape conviction last month. Imprisonment was handed down in a Manhattan criminal court. Weinstein was found guilty of sexually assault and rape. India to take on South Africa in the first one-day international cricket match at Dharamsala today. Men in blue will look to return to winning ways after ODI and Test series loss in New Zealand. Good morning. You're watching DD News and I'm Preeti presenting the bulletin. First up, all the news related to coronavirus. Ten new cases of coronavirus were reported yesterday, taking the total number of patients in the country to 60. Among the fresh cases, 8 were from Kerala and 1 each from Delhi and Rajasthan. The total number of 60 confirmed cases include 16 Italian tourists. Meanwhile, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has assured of all efforts to bring back the Indians after appropriate testing and screening. A medical team will leave for Italy today for screening the Indians. An Air India flight carrying 83 people, including 9 foreigners of Indian origin, arrived in New Delhi yesterday from Italy and have been quarantined at the Army facility in Manesar near Delhi. The evacuees will be monitored and daily examination will be done for 2 weeks by a qualified team of doctors and staff members to watch for any signs of infection. If any individual is suspected to be infected, he or she will be shifted to an isolation facility. The first batch of 58 evacuees from Iran had arrived on Tuesday with 25 men, 31 women and 2 children on board, and all evacuees are asymptomatic at present. So far, India has evacuated 948 passengers from COVID-19 affected countries. Out of these, 900 are Indian citizens and also 48 belong to different nationalities including Maldives, Myanmar, Bangladesh, China, USA, Madagascar, Sri Lanka, Nepal, South Africa and Peru. And government is on alert and series of meetings are underway to contain the spread of coronavirus. A second meeting, that is high-level group of ministers, took stock of the situation yesterday with the meeting chaired by Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan. The meeting was also attended by External Affairs Minister, Shipping and Transport Minister. The recommendations of the Committee of Secretaries was chaired by a Cabinet Secretary and they were placed before the GOM. At the high-level meet, it was decided that all existing visas except diplomatic, official, UN or international organizations, employment, project visas, stand suspended till 15th April 2020. This will come into effect from 12 GMT on 13th of March 2020 at the port of departure. Visa-free travel facilities granted to OCI cardholders is kept in abeyance till April 15th, 2020. This will also come into effect on 13th of March 2020 at the port of departure. Any foreign national who intends to travel to India for compelling reason may contact the nearest Indian mission. All incoming travelers, including Indian nationals arriving from or having visited China, Italy, Iran, Republic of Korea, France, Spain and Germany after 15th of February 2020 shall be quarantined for a minimum period of 14 days. Now this will come into effect from 13th of March at the port of departure. Incoming travelers, including Indian nationals, are advised to avoid non-essential travel and are informed that they can be quarantined for a minimum of 14 days on their arrival in India. Indian nationals are strongly advised to avoid all non-essential travel abroad. On their return, they can be subject to quarantine for a minimum of 14 days. International traffic through land borders will be restricted to designated checkposts with robust screening facilities. Provision for testing primarily for students or compassionate cases in Italy to be made and collection for samples to be organized accordingly. Those tested negative will be allowed to travel and will be quarantined on the arrival in India for 14 days. Earlier, the Cabinet Secretary held a meeting with secretaries of the concerned ministries on coronavirus matter, and it was decided that all states and union territories should be advised by the centre to invoke provisions for Section 2 of the Epidemic Disease Act 1897, so that all advisories being issued from time to time by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, state and union territories are enforceable.
मंत्रियों के समूह ने कोविड-19 की रोकथाम के लिए विभिन्न मंत्रालयों, विभागों और राज्यों, संघ राज्यों, राज्य क्षेत्रों द्वारा मिलकर किए गए कार्यों, तैयारियों एवं प्रयासों पर संतोष व्यक्त किया। इसके पश्चात कैबिनेट सेक्रेटरी ने आज संबंधित मंत्रालयों के सचिवों और सेना व आईटीबीपी के प्रतिनिधियों के साथ बैठक की और यह निर्णय लिया गया कि एपिडेमिक डिजीज एक्ट 1897 की धारा 2 के अंतर्गत प्रावधान किए जाएं ताकि स्वास्थ्य एवं परिवार कल्याण मंत्रालय और राज्य सरकारों द्वारा समय समय पर जारी की जा रही सभी एडवाइजरीज अच्छी तरह से लागू की जा सकें।
And the centre has also issued new travel and visa restrictions related to COVID-19 in supersession of all earlier advisories issued on the subject.
भारत वापस लौटने वाले सभी अंतर्राष्ट्रीय यात्रियों को अपने स्वास्थ्य को स्वयं मॉनिटर करना होगा और सुझाए गए आवश्यक तौर तरीकों का अनुपालन करना होगा। जिन व्यक्तियों ने चीन, हांगकांग, कोरिया गणराज्य, जापान, इटली, थाईलैंड, सिंगापुर, ईरान, मलेशिया, फ्रांस, स्पेन और जर्मनी की यात्रा की है, उन्हें यहाँ पहुँचने की तारीख से लेकर 14 दिनों तक सेल्फ इम्पोज्ड क्वारंटाइन में रहना होगा और इस अवधि के दौरान उन्हें कार्यालय आने की बजाय घर से ही कार्य करने की सुविधा उनके जो एम्प्लॉयर्स हैं उनके द्वारा दी जानी चाहिए। भारतीय नागरिकों को सभी अनावश्यक विदेश यात्राओं से बचना चाहिए। इटली से 83 पैसेंजर्स आए और उन्हें आर्मी की जो मानेसर में फैसिलिटी है उसमें क्वारंटाइन में रखा गया है।
The centre has also reiterated the need to take ample precautions to prevent the spread of COVID-19.
आप हाथ को साबुन और पानी से या हैंड रब से बार-बार साफ करें। आपके हाथ भले ही साफ दिखते हों, फिर भी इन्हें धोएं। छींकते और खांसते समय अपने मुंह और नाक पर टिश्यू या रुमाल से उसे ढकें। प्रयोग के तुरंत बाद टिश्यू को किसी बंद डस्टबिन में फेंक दें। अगर आपको खांसी, बुखार या सांस लेने में कठिनाई है तो डॉक्टर से संपर्क करें और ऐसी अवस्था में घर से निकलते समय अपने मुंह और नाक को ढकने के लिए मास्क या कपड़े का प्रयोग अवश्य करें। अगर आप में कोरोना वायरस के संकेत या लक्षण हैं तो कृपया राज्य हेल्पलाइन नंबर या स्वास्थ्य मंत्रालय की 24x7 हेल्पलाइन नंबर जो इस प्रकार है 011 239 78 046 011 239 78046 इस पर आप कृपया कॉल करें।
The World Health Organization has described the new coronavirus as a pandemic for the first time, adding that Italy and Iran were now on the front line of the disease. At a news conference, WHO Director General Tedros expressed deep concern on both the alarming levels of spread and the severity by the alarming levels of infection. He urged the global community to redouble the efforts to contain the outbreak, saying aggressive measures could still play a big role to curb it. While he acknowledged the characterization did not change what WHO was doing or what countries needed to do, it sounded an alarm the organization has not used so far as the virus spreads.
We're deeply concerned both by the alarming levels of spread and severity and by the alarming levels of inaction. We have therefore made the assessment that COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic. Pandemic is not a word to use lightly or carelessly. It's a word that, if misused, can cause unreasonable fear or unjustified acceptance that the fight is over, leading to unnecessary suffering and death.
And up next, a quick look at what to look out for to understand the infection. For most people, the new coronavirus causes only mild or moderate symptoms such as fever and cough. For some, especially older adults and people with existing health problems, it can cause more severe illness, including pneumonia. The vast majority of people recover from the new virus. Italian Prime Minister has imposed added new restrictions yesterday to the lockdown imposed to fight coronavirus. In a televised address to the nation, the Prime Minister said that all shops would be shut except supermarkets, food stores and chemists, and companies must close all their departments that are not essential for production. 631 deaths and over 10,000 infections have put the medical system under almost unimaginable strain in the country. Iran's senior vice president and 2 other cabinet members have contracted the new coronavirus. The death toll in the Islamic Republic from the outbreak rose by 62 to 354. President Hassan Rouhani has taken control of the country's much criticized response to the virus and the COVID-19 illness that it causes. Authorities announced that there were some 9,000 confirmed cases of the virus across Iran. The Islamic Republic has one of the world's worst death tolls outside of China. Outside of Iran, only Iraq, Egypt and Lebanon have recorded deaths from the virus in the Middle East. And Iraq has banned all public gatherings and called on citizens to avoid visiting sacred cities and sites to stop the spread of the virus. According to authorities, they called on Iraqis arriving from Iran, China, South Korea, Italy, Japan, Thailand, Singapore, Kuwait and Bahrain to stay at home for self-quarantine for 14 days. Iraq has reported 7 deaths from coronavirus and 71 new cases. Meanwhile, medical personnel from Iraq's Popular Mobilization Forces disinfected Baghdad International Airport. The PMF had also disinfected universities, schools and other government institutions. And some vital industries in Wuhan, the Chinese city at the epicenter of the coronavirus epidemic, were told that they can resume work on Wednesday, a day after President Xi Jinping visited there for the first time since the outbreak began. The city of 11 million has been in lockdown since late January, but Xi's visit signals the tide was turning in the government's favor as it fights to contain a virus that, as of Tuesday, had infected 80,778 people in China and killed 3,158. Authorities elsewhere in China have lowered the emergency response levels to the epidemic and relaxed travel restrictions. US President Donald Trump announced suspension of all travel from Europe to the United States for the next 30 days in an effort to curb the spread of coronavirus. In a rare address from the Oval Office, Trump said that the US had implemented to contain the coronavirus outbreak, while the travel ban will be effective from Friday at midnight. FSN correspondent Nick Harper reports from Washington. We'll listen in.
President Trump is calling these strong but necessary measures. From Friday at midnight, there'll no longer be any flights from Europe to the United States for the next 30 days. Not just holidaymakers, but also business and trade. All of that will stop. There are some exceptions. The UK is exempt from this, and Americans who are in Europe will be allowed to return to the US as long as they are properly screened. However, with 37 deaths and more than 1,200 cases, the president is saying now is the time to protect Americans. However, he has been criticised for a slow response, for not having a strong enough plan, for undermining health officials, and for downplaying the effects of this crisis that has now been classified as a pandemic. He also outlined a number of economic measures during this Oval Office primetime address. He wants to release $50 billion of money to try and provide small businesses with low interest loans. However, investors don't seem particularly impressed with his proposals. Wall Street already looks as if it's going to have a bad day on Thursday. The futures market is pointing to the markets opening 5% lower. The president clearly knows there is an election just around the corner. He's tied himself very much to the economy and to jobs, and knows he needs to keep those strong if he's to have a chance of being re-elected in November.
Meanwhile, Washington, D.C. declared a state of emergency yesterday as city officials grow increasingly concerned about conventions, sporting events and large gatherings in the U.S. Capitol. The city has confirmed 10 cases of coronavirus, which has caused several areas and universities to cancel in-person classes. President Donald Trump vowed that he would use all government resources necessary to combat the virus, which has killed 32 people in America and ravaged Italy, China and other countries. Few days back, New York City had also declared state of emergency. Indian Embassy in the United States has also issued an advisory on travel to India in the wake of coronavirus. The advisory is in line with that issued by the Government of India. An Oscar-winning actor, Tom Hanks, and his wife, actress Rita Wilson, have both tested positive for coronavirus in Australia. The couple were tested in Australia, where he is working on a Warner Brothers film, after they felt tired with slight fever. The couple is being tested, observed, and isolated for as long as public health and safety requires. Warner Brothers is now working closely with the appropriate Australian health agencies to identify and contact anyone who may have come in direct contact with the individuals. And the markets world over continue to go down on fears of COVID-19 spread. The equity benchmark Sensex plummeted over 1,800 points and the broader Nifty gave up the 10,000 level mark in opening session today. After WHO declared coronavirus as a pandemic, the NSE Nifty fell by over 500 points in the opening session. All Sensex components were trading in the red. Besides sell-off in global equities, massive plunge in international oil prices and depreciating rupee added to investor concerns. Brent crude oil futures plunged over 5% to $34 per barrel after the travel ban. Elsewhere in Asia, bourses in Shanghai dropped over 1.34%, Hong Kong by 3.66%, Seoul by 4.29%, and Tokyo cracked up to 5.32%. In overnight trade, U.S. equity benchmarks also plunged nearly 5%, intensifying the global rout. In other news, President of Popular Front of India, Pervez, and Secretary Ilyas were arrested by Delhi Police Special Cell today in connection with alleged funding behind Shaheen Bagh protests in the national capital. The police alleged that PFI may also be linked to deadly Delhi violence in which 50 people were brutally killed in last week of February. The government is already probing PFI's role in financing the anti-CAA NRC stir across the country and especially in New Delhi. Union Home Minister Amit Shah has said that riots on such a big scale that broke out in northeast Delhi were not possible without a pre-planned conspiracy, and he promised that those behind the riots will not be spared. Speaking on a discussion on violence in northeast Delhi in Lok Sabha, Amit Shah said that Delhi police controlled the violence within 36 hours. Blaming the provocative statements of the opposition leaders, Amit Shah further said that 52 Indians died in the violence. He said that properties of all those who will be confiscated who are involved in arson. He also said that the government has written to the High Court to constitute a claim commission. He also said that the Delhi police controlled the situation within 36 hours.
1100 से ज्यादा लोग आइडेंटिफाई हो चुके हैं और मैं इसमें बताना चाहता हूं 300 से ज्यादा लोग यूपी से आकर यहां दंगा करने के लिए आए थे। वो यूपी से हमने जो डेटा चेहरों का मंगाया इससे स्पष्ट साबित हो गया है, जो बताता है कि ये गहरी साजिश थी।
The Bharati Janata Party yesterday released its list of 9 candidates for the upcoming elections to 55 Rajya Sabha seats across 17 states scheduled for March 26th. The newly inducted Jyotiraditya Scindia was nominated as one of its candidates from Madhya Pradesh. The party also allotted 2 seats to its allies, with Dalit leader and Union Minister Ramdas Athavale getting re-nominated from Maharashtra and Biswajit Dharmeri of Bodoland People's Front to contest from Assam. Almost all these candidates are certain to enter Rajya Sabha, as BJP has numerical strength in respect to ensure their win. Former Union Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia yesterday formally joined the BJP after resigning from the primary membership of Congress a day before and lauded Prime Minister Narendra Modi for his leadership. At a press conference at the BJP headquarters in New Delhi, Scindia joined the party in presence of its President JP Nadda and other senior leaders. Launching a frontal attack on Kamal Nath-led Madhya Pradesh government, Scindia said that he was pained at not being able to serve people and that he described the Congress as a party living in denial. With Scindia power behind, the BJP has strengthened its Madhya Pradesh fort, and Scindia will visit Bhopal today. And Union Minister Shripad Yeso Naik has said that this year the mega event of the International Yoga Day will be held in Leh, the capital of Union Territory of Ladakh. He added that around 20,000 people will participate on the International Yoga Day this year.
वहाँ तो कुछ होता ही नहीं था, इसलिए हमने खास करके लेह को चुना है प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने, और इस बार का कार्यक्रम लेह में होगा और इसमें उपस्थिति कम से कम 20,000 से ज़्यादा होगी। जो योगा प्रोटोकॉल है वो 45 मिनट्स का कार्यक्रम है। एक बार शुरू हो गया तो कम से कम 45 मिनट्स उसको लगता है। हाई एल्टीट्यूड होने के बाद भी वहाँ जो प्योर हवा है, एक बार एक दिन एक्मेटाइजेशन के लिए एक दिन लगता है, उसके बाद में तो आदमी नॉर्मल हो जाता है।
U.S. Democratic presidential contender Bernie Sanders to stay in the White House race despite suffering a series of sweeping losses to frontrunner Joe Biden. On Super Tuesday 2nd, that is day before yesterday, Biden secured primary victories in Michigan and other states, taking a big step forward the party's nomination to take on Trump in November and casting doubt on the future of Sanders' fading White House bid. Sanders won in North Dakota but had hoped for an upset victory in the key state of Michigan. FSN correspondent Jagruti Dave reports. Let's listen in.
The momentum continues for Joe Biden as he faced his opponent Bernie Sanders in what's been called Super Tuesday 2. Joe Biden has won the Democratic primaries in Michigan, Missouri and Mississippi. In Michigan, where the largest number of delegates are up for grabs, could be a severe blow to the senator for Vermont, Bernie Sanders. Michigan is also a key state because come the election in November, Democrats hope to retake it from President Trump, who won the state by a slim margin in 2016. Bernie Sanders did win the primaries in Michigan in 2016 against Hillary Clinton, but he seems to have been unable to manage a repeat performance this time round. The final results from Michigan are expected to be released on Wednesday. And Joe Biden in these states seems to have been propelled to victory by his support from African Americans as well as older voters, but he also seems to have got backing from demographics who in 2016 favoured Bernie Sanders, such as voters without a college degree. And as the results started coming in, Joe Biden got one more boost. Another former rival, Andrew Yang, publicly endorsed him, saying that whilst Bernie Sanders was an inspiration for him, the math made it clear that Joe Biden was the prohibitive nominee for the Democrats. And whilst all of this is going on, coronavirus is casting a shadow over the campaigns as well, because both Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden had to cancel rallies in Cleveland, Ohio, due to coronavirus concerns, and the DNC say that Sunday's debate in Arizona will have to go ahead, but without a live audience.
That's it in this edition of the News this hour. Thanks for watching. Namaskar.